Today's the day. The Switch 2 just launched. Now at first glance, the Switch 2 doesn't seem that much different from the original Switch. It's a little bit bigger and it's more powerful. And that is actually what is different about it. There's some other things like the cool magnetic on and off for the Joy-Cons, the fact that this can be used as a mouse and it's like incredibly seamless. Those are all very cool. Awesome upgrades. But is it worth getting the Switch 2 over like the OLED Switch? We're gonna do an unboxing, jump into it, and some first impressions of, well, the Switch 2. Let's get into it. Alright, first off, it was just really cool to be able to go to Best Buy at night and experience a launch event with my son. This is the first time that he's ever experienced something like that, and it just doesn't happen that much anymore. So that was really cool. We got there like 3 hours early, waited in line, and we got it. So that was very cool. But then we got home and we unboxed this bad boy. Honestly, the biggest thing that I am most excited about is jumping into some Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and experiencing it at full HD or when plugged into my TV 4K and finally getting above 30 frames per second. In fact, more like 60 frames per second. And yeah, it's great. It looks amazing. And for people who have never emulated these games on like their powerful PC, who have already experienced upscaled and high frame rate, this is gonna be pretty mind-blowing to you. It just feels incredible, finally getting to play these games, kind of how it feels they were intended. I also bought the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition. After I left, I went, oh my gosh, is this not gonna work in my old Switch? It does, it's backwards compatible. This game, which says Switch 2, will actually plug into my OLED Switch and my original Switch and boot up and play. But then on the Switch 2, it downloads that expansion pack that unlocks all of the better features that are included with the Switch 2 version. Beyond that, Fortnite loaded that up. I just wanted to see what it looked like on here, and it looks incredible. The graphics are great. This device, the fact that it can play these types of games like Fortnite, and now the quality is actually up to par. I would say very comparable or better than the Steam Deck. But it's like razor thin, and it's significantly more efficient than the Steam Deck. This actually makes the Steam Deck feel kind of archaic. Like, look at this monstrosity. Like, the Steam Deck is just so huge relative, and this has a bigger screen with 120 hertz VRR. It's got like all the goodness. If it was OLED, it'd be perfect, but of course Nintendo needs to upsell us in a few years on an OLED screen and we will buy it. So good plan. I'm really excited that we have a far more capable and powerful Switch. And the fact that they're dropping games like Cyberpunk on the release date, if Nintendo could get the top 100 Steam Deck games ported over to the Switch 2, I honestly think that many people who buy the Steam Deck would actually opt in just to get a Switch and build their library, which is going to be very expensive, by the way, and there's no way that they're going to have as many sales as PC games or even just Steam alone. But see, you don't have to buy games on Steam to play it on your Steam Deck. You can buy them anywhere you get your PC games. So that's like a huge benefit to the Steam ecosystem and these handheld PCs. However, Having this ARM-based system that's just razor thin and super efficient with this massive screen just feels so good in the hands. And now that you're able to play these games and they look as good or better than on the Steam Deck, it's kind of making this old Architect x86 feel insane. Like, how long is it gonna take us to switch over to ARM-based computers, like how Apple has already achieved? I'm not gonna hold my breath. I think that's gonna take a long time, and they have to get all the companies to make ports of these games to specifically work on like a Linux-based ARM system. And then they also have to port it for the Switch, and then they also have to port it for Mac. So I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, but I do think it's inevitable. And the Switch is just proving that point. But could you imagine getting like Elden Ring, getting an updated version of The Witcher 3, and Red Dead Redemption, Baldur's Gate? Like, all of those games can play on here. They just have to make ports. If Cyberpunk can play on this, then we're pretty much set. I'd also love to see some of the handheld PC manufacturers take some notes from Nintendo. Like the Legion Go with its detachable controllers and its mouse ability. This is a way better mouse experience. You don't have to touch or do anything. You literally just pull it off, set it down, boom, it's a mouse. And it just flawlessly works. And then you just put it on, boom, it's a controller. And holding it like this, meow, this actually feels like a mouse. Not like this. Flawlessly works. It is so responsive, so intuitive. Boom, bam, mouse, controller, nothing. It just knows. It knows what I want it to do. And I think our best case scenario is that Valve works alongside these companies and they build that into SteamOS so that the Legion Go could natively be running SteamOS, which has a very robust feature to make the Joy-Con or whatever they call it on the Legion Go have that ability to switch into a mouse way more seamlessly, just like it does on the Switch 2. I digress. This is a video about the Switch 2. My takeaways are that it's freaking awesome. The pricing, maybe not super freaking awesome. I don't think this is a bad deal at $450. When you look at the landscape of everything else in the market, I think that's just the new reality. Like, we're not gonna get these $300 or whatever systems that are the flagship systems. Stuff just costs more money in 2025. So that price point, I'm actually okay with, which is maybe an unpopular opinion. What I'm not super stoked about is the games and all the pricing and tiers that they have of everything available in the stores. So that's just a lot of money to build out a library on your Switch 2. I think it'd be really interesting to compare some games like Hogwarts Legacy, Cyberpunk, and some of the other games that are very popular and available on the Steam Deck and compare them to the Switch 2. If that's something you're interested in, leave a comment of what games you would like me to test side by side next to my other handheld PCs. All right, that's it. I'll see you next time.